We do have breaking news. Rescuers say that they have found debris from that missing submersible near the Titanic wreckage, and they say that they fear that all 5 people who were on board lost their lives. Earlier, the U.S. Coast Guard on Twitter, it gave no details on whether officials at that time believed that the find was connected to the Titan submarine. The vessel disappeared, you may remember, on Sunday off the Canadian coast while on a dive to the site of the Titanic shipwreck. Among those on board is the head of the company that designed and operates the sub. Well, I'm joined now by Dr. Rob Larter. He's a marine geophysicist with the British Antarctic Survey. He joins me from Cambridge. It's good to have you with us. I just want to start by getting your reaction to the news that's come out that the Coast Guard, they're saying they're now assuming that all 5 people lost their lives in this tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult time to comment now because if we take the news that's just come out over the last hour, then we're actually dealing with a tragedy, and of course everybody's thoughts right now will be with the families of the people who are assumed to be lost.
The U.S. Coast Guard, it is saying that the debris field close to the Titanic wreckage belongs to the Titan. Talk us through that. I mean, how can they be so sure of that when we're talking about such a massive amount of water that they're having to search through? How can they be so sure?
Well, so the descriptions I've seen say that they've recognized a couple of specific parts of the sub, and this is reported presumably from the search teams to somebody who's a close associate of people who are involved, who are on board, and then it came to news organizations through somebody he'd spoken to, another submariner, David Mearns. So that seems to be a fairly reliable chain for information. I understand there's a news briefing going on almost probably as we speak. So we'll probably have more specifics on that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, and it's been a developing story the entire day. We don't want to get too graphic here, but we do want to try to understand what could have happened if this vessel did fall apart at, 2.5 miles below the surface of the ocean. I mean, is it possible for rescuers to find any human remains when we're talking about people who were inside a vessel that would have then been, destroyed instantly?
I've never seen anything like that. I imagine that they wouldn't be recognizable. It's horrible to think about, but it would have been a very sudden event. Because of the immense pressure. It would have been an implosion as violent as a serious explosion because of the immense pressure. So more than 300 atmospheres of pressure. So this is why the building of such deep water submersibles is so difficult, that you're trying to maintain a normal environment outside against the immense pressure inside, and so any flaw in the fabric of the hull could potentially be catastrophic.
And Dr. Larter, we've had several people this week talk to us about this very vessel. I spoke with a gentleman 2 nights ago who said that he had also been down to the wreckage of the Titanic in this vessel, and he said that at the time he saw that there were obvious problems with the structural integrity, and yet he still went down and he was able to come back up. But are we not taking the proper levels of caution and concern with these types of luxury adventures when we're allowing people to go 2.5 miles below the ocean surface? I mean, are we not, getting serious about things and realizing that these people could die?
I mean, one thing that seems to be emerging is that in this kind of commercialization of deep marine submersibles, that there seems to be a lack of regulation or a lack of enforcement of regulation. But I think what I would say is today is not really the time to be mulling over that in too much detail. There will inevitably be an investigation of some sort. It's not clear what jurisdiction that will be led under, but there will inevitably, I think, there will be such pressure that there will have to be an investigation. And I think we all then have to be patient and wait and see what that investigation finds in terms of technical issues and in terms of recommendations for how this sort of activity should be managed in the future.
Dr. Rob Larder, marine geophysicist with the British Antarctic Survey. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us despite the very unpleasant and sad circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you.